3 spine-chilling true horror tales, unexplained mysteries exposed and sinister secrets revealed. In the quiet suburb of Ohio, a hum of laughter flowed from neighbor to neighbor like a sinister chant, but inside Lisa's home, darkness loomed. Shadows danced across kitchen walls as she chopped vegetables, each slice sharp and deliberate, but her heart raced. The summer air felt thick, almost claustrophobic, and then came the creaking. A low, disconcerting sound from the vacant house next door sent a shiver down her spine, a door swinging open and closed, like an invitation to something wicked. At first, Lisa brushed it off. The stress of losing her job and the relentless weight of bills lingering over her like a storm cloud made her prone to paranoia. But that night, as the heat wrapped around her, dread twisted in her gut when she caught Anna laughing with Mr. Collins, their overly cheerful neighbor whose kindness was beginning to feel like a noose. "Just trying to be a good neighbor," he said with his too broad smile, offering unsolicited cooking tips that dripped with undertones too slick to trust. Whispers about his past floated around town like the warm breeze, tales of disappearances wrapped in folklore that made her gut churn. Days turned into nights filled with unsettling noise. Tools clanked in Mr. Collins' workshop at odd hours, and shadows darted behind blinds. Objects began disappearing from their home, a favorite coffee mug here, a pair of Anna's shoes there. Each loss felt like a thread pulled from an unraveling fabric. Lisa's anxiety reached a fever pitch as she sensed an unseen presence, a chilling gaze fixed on her, watching, waiting. The police? They shrugged her off when she mentioned the unsettling creaks and missing items. "Nothing to worry about, ma'am," they said, but she could feel society's safety net slipping. The turning point was the community lock-in at the middle school. It was supposed to be a safe haven. Lisa had watched Anna disappear into the crowd of giggling children, but the hours slipped by, each tick of the clock sharper than a knife. Panic clawed at her throat. She raced through the neighborhood, echoing footsteps on the pavement fueling her hyper-awareness. Something deep inside told her to head toward the old factory at the town's edge. In the eerie stillness, it loomed like a haunted sentinel, shadowed in dark rumors and whispered legends. Pushing through the rusted doors felt like crossing into another realm. The air thickened, heavy with secrets and a dread that seeped into her bones. The echoes of her footsteps against the crumbling walls reverberated like a chilling heartbeat, a reminder that she was not alone. She stumbled upon painted symbols in a red-brown hue that looked too much like blood, each line whispering vile secrets of lost children who had wandered too far into the dark. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. A shiver ran through her, grounding her fear into an urgent resolve. She had to find Anna before it was too late. As she moved deeper into the factory's heart, shadows stirred with unseen life, the whispers grew louder, insistent. Panic surged as the floor trembled beneath her feet. Then came the crash. The heavy door she entered through slammed tight behind her, trapping her inside. "You shouldn't have come here, Lisa," a voice echoed from the depths, familiar yet twisted. Suddenly, the darkness morphed into a nightmare, as she remembered the warning signs. What awaited her wasn't just the monster taking her daughter, but a reflection of the sinister threats embedded in there. Suburban life. Lisa gripped the wall for balance, heart hammering. She must confront this terror, or risk losing everything she loved to the shadows. The silence after the voice hung heavy, suffocating. Lisa's breath came in shallow gasps as her eyes darted around, straining to pierce the darkness. The cold sweat trickled down her back, pooling at her waist. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling. It felt like a challenge, a desperate plea for bravery. A low, rumbling laugh echoed, bouncing off the factory's cracked walls. "You really think you know what lurks in this darkness?" The voice morphed, shifting from the familiar tones of Anna to something more sinister, a twisted parody of comfort. Her daughter's laughter still echoed in her mind, a painful reminder of what she had to protect. Lisa forced herself to take another step forward, battling the urge to turn and flee. Each movement was weighted by dread, but Anna needed her. Ignoring the shadows flitting just beyond her vision, she summoned her voice. "Anna! Are you in here?" Heart pounding, she strained for any sound, a soft whimper, the rustle of fabric. Yet, only the sinister giggle returned. "Looking for something?" The voice echoed again, slithering through the darkness. It drew closer, more mocking. The temperature dropped, and Lisa's breath misted in front of her. The air grew heavier, thick and suffocating, as if the factory itself sought to draw her in, to consume her entirely. Hot on her heels was the realization that this wasn't just a search, it was a hunt, and she was the prey. Desperation clawed at her chest as she began to pace, hands feeling the contours of the walls, searching for something, anything that would lead her to Anna or out of this nightmare. Approaching an old machine draped in shadows, her fingers brushed against cold metal, and an electric jolt of fear surged through her. Memories flickered back, stories she had heard about this factory. One child vanished. 2 more followed. Whispers of a dark entity that dwelled among the wreckage. Suddenly, the darkness parted, revealing the flicker of a weak light ahead. Breath caught in her throat, Lisa hurried toward it, stumbling over debris. The light grew brighter, illuminating a small room with remnants of forgotten toys, rusted tricycles, and other strewn possessions that offered chilling hints of missing children. And in the center of it all stood Anna, her back turned, silent as a doll. "Anna!" Lisa shrieked, lunging forward. But before she reached her, the girl spun around. The light revealed a face that was eerily twisted, eyes wide and hollow, mouth twisted in a frozen smile. The laughter that escaped her lips rang hollow, echoing bone-deep terror in Lisa's heart. "Mommy! I was waiting for you!" Anna chimed, but as she spoke, it was clear this was not her little girl. Shadows danced in the corners, creeping closer. "Come play with me forever." Ice coursed through Lisa's veins. This wasn't her child. "What have you done to her?" she screamed, despair mingling with rage. "Didn't you know? She is home now," the voice cackled, merging with Anna's distorted visage, becoming one with the darkness as figures slinked closer. Panic surged like wildfire. With every corner of her mind screaming at her to run, something deep down anchored Lisa in place. She needed to act, to save her daughter before the shadows claimed them both. But as she turned to flee towards the door, it disintegrated into a wall of shifting panic, dark tendrils reaching out to ensnare her. Defiance ignited within her. This terror didn't own her, she would fight to the last breath. "Release my daughter!" she shouted, voice breaking yet resolute against the malevolence pressing around her. The shadows recoiled as if her words held power, revealing a pathway back to the light, a narrow crack barely visible at the far end. With a primal scream, Lisa bolted forward, racing against the darkness that howled behind her. Was she just delaying the inevitable? Each step felt like a final chance, a heartbeat away from salvation or doom. But what awaited her just beyond the sliver of light? The walls trembled in response, and as she reached for that ephemeral blow, she heard it, a humming, familiar and cold, whispering her worst fears. Was the nightmare truly over, or had she crossed into something far more terrible? The ticking clock loomed in her thoughts. Would she escape this unholy factory, or become yet another lost soul yearning for freedom? Lisa lunged forward, heart pounding, desperate to reach the sliver of light. The moment she grasped its edges, cold tendrils wrapped around her ankles, pulling her back into the consuming blackness. Panic clawed at her throat. She gritted her teeth, digging her fingers into the floor, fighting against the invisible force that sought to claim her. "Anna!" Her voice was raw, more a cry of anguish than a shout now. Fear surged through her, turning her knees into jelly. Every second spent battling the darkness felt like an eternity, a cosmic joke played by the entity lurking in the shadows. With a surge of will, she tore herself from the grip and stumbled into the light. She landed on a hard surface, chest heaving, panic still thrumming in her veins. Blinking rapidly, she took in her surroundings. The light was just a flickering bulb above her, revealing remnants of the factory's decay, a peeling wall, shattered glass on the floor, and, most hauntingly, an empty playground swinging in the distance. A soft giggle echoed behind her, slicing through her frayed nerves. "Mommy, you can't leave me." Lisa turned slowly, dread coiling in her stomach like a snake. Anna stood there, but not truly. Her eyes, once bright and innocent, were now darkened pits, and that smile, it stretched too wide, too unnatural. "Anna, please." Lisa choked out, instinctively retreating. The mirage of her daughter took a step closer, each movement fluid, as if the shadows were teaching her their dance. "Mommy, I'm so lonely here." The dark energy pulsed around Lisa, mocking her with its palpable chill. Images flared in her mind: kids who once played here, forgotten and lost. "You took them. You took my daughter." The accusation was tinged with both fury and despair. Echoing laughter filled the air, weaving through the room like a stream of night. "You think you can just take her back? She's one of us now." The voice was a haunting melody, reveling in her torment. Shadowy figures began to materialize around Anna, brief flashes of twisted faces with eyes shimmering like dying stars, children forever trapped in this realm. "Get away from her." Lisa stepped back, fists clenched, adrenaline coursing through her. Reality twisted and churned, making it hard for her to breathe. She had to stand firm, to fight against this evil. "Why are you fighting, Mommy?" Anna's voice grew softer, almost sweet. "We can play forever. I'll never leave again." With every fiber of her being, Lisa yelled, "I'd rather die than let you have her." The shadows recoiled, the laughter faltering for a heartbeat. In that instant, Lisa surged forward, inching toward her daughter despite the creeping darkness. "Anna, if you can hear me, you must fight. You must come back to me." For a moment, the twisted girl faltered. The abyss flickered, just like the light, revealing a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. "Mommy, help me. I'm scared." As hope ignited within her, the shadows began to swirl and pulse, fury raging against her defiance. They enveloped Anna, and Lisa's heart sank as her daughter's form wavered, the darkness clinging to her like a predator sizing up its prey. "Help me, Mommy." Anna's voice fractured into a sob, struggling against the encroaching shadows. But as quickly as it came, it faded into a chilling silence. "No!" Lisa lunged again, reaching for the child, but the weight of the darkness pushed her back, a tide of cold despair washing over her. It felt like a gut punch, a hollowing out of her soul. Suddenly, the factory shook violently. A low growl filled the air, as if the very walls were alive, ready to consume. Whispers slithered around her, urging her to surrender, to accept her fate, but she would not break. Not now. Not ever. Rushing forward one last time, she pushed against the force holding her back. "I will save you." She felt a glimmer of warmth in her heart, a connection. She could hear Anna's voice, faint but there. Just as Lisa reached out, everything went black. And then silence enveloped the place. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears, and she realized she was no longer in the factory. Or was she? "Mommy?" Was it Anna's voice she heard, or just another trick of the shadows? For deep down, Lisa sensed something sinister was still lurking, waiting to reveal itself. The air was thick with a tense stillness, but it felt alive, as if breathing alongside her. The darkness clung to her like a wet blanket, smothering her attempts to orient herself. "Anna?" she whispered, voice trembling, every syllable a challenge against the oppressive silence. Her heart raced, the pounding echoing in her ears, drowning out any lingering doubts. She felt a shift in the shadows around her, as if they were listening. Suddenly, from that engulfing blackness, emerged a hazy form. It flickered at the edges, wavering like a reflection in disturbed water. "Mommy, where are you?" The voice was softer, so innocent and sweet, yet it sent icy fingers creeping up Lisa's spine. Torn between hope and despair, Lisa stepped closer to the figure, desperate for connection. "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm coming." But the form retreated, sliding back into the darkness, leaving her clutching only air. Images exploded in her mind: Anna's laughter, the sunlight on their faces as they played in the park, the smell of lilacs in spring. Memories turned into knives, twisting deep in her chest. She shouted out, "I won't let you take her from me." The shadows grumbled, the growl vibrating through her. "You're too late." Before she could process the words, the ground beneath her quaked violently, sending her sprawling back against the cold, hard floor. She gasped for breath, fear choking her throat, then clawed her way back up, inching toward where Anna's voice had last beckoned her. "I won't give up." The air shimmered, and for a heartbeat, a vision danced before her eyes: a playground, vibrant and alive, where her daughter swung and slid, blissfully unaware of the lurking horrors. But the colors faded, dimmed by the encroaching shadows, until the joyful echoes morphed into cries of despair. "Mommy!" The wailing wrapped around her, electric and sharp, piercing like a confession of lost innocence. "No!" Lisa screamed, a feral rage igniting inside her. "Where are you?" She ran deeper into the darkness, ignoring the whispers that encircled her. Each step felt like a leap into madness, though she was driven by instinct, a primal need to protect. Suddenly, the shadows flashed, twisting into warped shapes, forming mockeries of familiar faces, loved ones she had lost, haunting her with their mournful gazes. "You're letting her down, Lisa," they whispered. "You'll never escape." And yet, amidst the torment, she caught a glimpse of her daughter, dark hair falling around a pale face, lips trembling, and shadows gravely gnawing at her edges. "Help me, Mommy. I'm scared, please." Lisa's heart broke at the sight. The shadows swirled violently, attempting to keep her from her child, but she pushed forward, fueled by every ounce of love. "I'm coming. I won't leave you." Just then, the world trembled and cracked. A deafening roar erupted from the depths of the abyss, making the walls rattle and the air vibrate. Shadows clawed at her legs, pulling her back, but she fought harder, ripping herself free. "Anna!" She could barely contain her desperation. "Hold on. I'm almost there." But as she reached forward, the vision flickered. The darkness swelled, devouring the light, warping everything into a grotesque theater of despair. A dreadful moment of vertigo hit as Lisa felt herself fall again, not into darkness, but somewhere else, somewhere she couldn't yet comprehend. The echoing cries of children filled her head as she drifted. "Mommy, help us!" Then everything fell silent, coldness crept around her, and she blinked into a blur of darkness. But just beyond the periphery, she caught a glimmer, flickering in the enveloping void. Was it light? Or another cruel trick of the shadows awaiting to ensnare her once more? "Mommy," the voice echoed again. A specter among the shadows, waiting to lead her deeper into the torment. Lisa had to make a choice, and every second felt like an eternity. Would she step into the flickering light or remain trapped in the suffocating shadows? A choice she would soon be forced to make, or would the choice be made for her? A chill swept through Lisa, wrapping tighter around her than the shadows themselves. She instinctively took a step toward the light, heart racing in anticipation, yet every instinct screamed to turn back. The flickering glimmer pulsed, drawing her closer, coaxing her with a warmth that felt foreign in this frigid abyss. "Mommy," that voice again, more desperate, more pleading. It tugged at her soul, igniting a blazing ember of hope. She could not abandon Anna. She would not. But as she advanced, she was struck by a bitter realization, the terrible truth. What if this light was a trap? What if it led her deeper into a despair she could hardly fathom? Suddenly, the air thickened, crackling as if charged with electricity. The whispers grew louder, swirling around her, mocking her determination. "You'll never find her," they taunted. "You think there is hope? Shut up!" She screamed into the darkness, fury eclipsing her fear. "I will find my daughter, no matter what." With that defiant proclamation, she took another step. The light seemed to leap towards her, blindingly bright, and yet it carried a coldness she could almost taste. It danced ahead of her, an enticing flicker against the oppressive black, and she couldn't help but chase its fleeting form. But as she reached for it, something unexpected happened. The shadows began to stretch and coalesce around her, merging into grotesque shapes that twisted into familiar faces, her friends, her family, all displaying expressions of terror and loss. Their eyes bore into her, pleading for her to remember, to look back. "Leave, Lisa," they whispered. "Don't go into the light." "No, I can't. Anna is waiting for me," she protested, her voice trembling. Yet, deep within, doubt began to gnaw at her resolve. The glimmer dimmed, flickering uncertainly. Maybe they were right. Was this truly a path to salvation, or merely the reflection of her own desperate need? Then she heard it again. "Help me, Mommy." It was immediate, an urgent call that ripped through her hesitation. She surged forward, pushing against the shadows, reaching for that elusive warmth, the hope that clung desperately to her sanity. As she stepped closer, the ground beneath her started to shatter like glass, splintering with a spine-chilling crack that echoed through the darkness. panic clawed at her throat. She was losing her footing, plunging into a vast void that threatened to swallow her whole, but in that fleeting moment, the light shone bright. It wasn't blinding, it pulsated with life, as though showing her the way. One last push, and she dove towards it, arms extended. The moment she collided with the light, everything froze. Sound ceased, and the air became thick with an eerie silence. She was weightless. The glow enveloped her, warm and inviting, but just as quickly it surrounded her like a noose tightening around her throat. "Anna?" She cried out, but no answer came. She felt unmoored, lost in this bizarre space beyond comprehension, and then she was back. Back in that cold abyss. Except now, the darkness was deeper, more malevolent, as if it had swelled with anger. There was no joy, there was only the weight of despair pressing against her heart. From the solitude emerged a haunting form, not Anna, but a silhouette of another child, wreathed in shadows and sorrow. "You chose wrong," it whispered, voice echoing with an unearthly resonance. "You will regret this." Panic surged anew in Lisa. Whatever she had stepped into, it was not just shadows anymore. It was a reality that twisted everything she thought she knew. As the shadows lunged for her, pooling around her ankles, she felt the darkness begin to swallow her whole once more. "How long will you fight?" it taunted. "You should know by now there's always a cost." A voice, chillingly familiar, slipped through the suffocating gloom. "Mommy now." Lisa faced the ultimate decision. Will she risk everything to find her child, paying the price that shadows demanded? Or would she concede and succumb to the darkness enveloping her? And as every ounce of hope teetered on the edge, she realized the shadows weren't just a prison, they held a choice she had to confront. Would she gamble with her soul to save her daughter, or was the price too steep to pay? The pull of despair twisted tighter around Lisa as the shadow child's words echoed in her mind. "You chose wrong." The chill spread, wrapping around her heart like icy fingers. Fear clawed at her insides, drowning out the fading cries of her daughter. Anna, the name barely escaped her lips, a whisper lost in the tempest of darkness. The shadows surged. She stumbled back, fighting them as they curled around her legs like vengeful serpents. "No!" she shouted, bolstered by a spark of defiance. "I will find you. I will save you." But each step she took felt like wading through molasses, the ethereal tendrils of blackness seeking to entrap her, to pull her down into the depths of despair. Shapes twisted and shifted, flickering through the void, faces she recognized but could not name. Each visage bore a desperate plea, a warning wrapped in sadness. "Lisa, don't go. It's too late." The images drained her will, feeding on her fear. Lisa's heart raced. The more she fought, the more they crowded in, drowning her hope beneath a tumult of mournful wails. She closed her eyes tight, squeezing out the darkness, focusing on the love she had for Anna. "I'm coming for you," she shouted, but her voice trembled, failing against the weight of overwhelming sorrow. The darkness twisted into a suffocating cloak, smothering her with despair. In an act of desperation, she began to claw at the shadows, ripping at the fabric of despair that sought to blanket her entirely. It was futile, nothing yielded. Her fingers passed through like grasping at smoke. Every breath felt like inhaling broken glass. Images of Anna flooded Lisa's mind, the warmth of her laughter, the comfort of her tiny hands. "No! I will not give up." With each beat of her heart, Lisa's resolve swelled. She jerked her arm back, ripping through the cobwebbed whispers. "I refuse to let you take me." She screamed, her voice a desperate charge against the encroaching darkness, but the shadows only laughed, a cacophony of horrors swirling in an infernal wind. "You think you can fight us? You will never find her." Rage ignited within Lisa, burning through the icy tendrils of despair. A blinding fury surged, slamming against the malevolent force. She pushed forward, gritting her teeth, thrusting herself deeper into the whirlpool of shadows. "I am her mother," she cried, voice rising. "You do not control me." Light flickered at the edges, weak but present. A faint glimmer danced ahead. The darkness recoiled slightly, anticipating her move, pulsing with a foreboding rhythm. "Follow it," the voice crooned, achingly familiar yet infused with an unsettling energy. But no, every path has its price. Without thinking, she darted towards it, fueled by desperation. The shadow shrieked in outrage, thrashing around her, but she pressed on, her feet moving faster than her mind could track. "Mommy!" The voice was stronger now, clarity slicing through the noise. Lisa's heart leaped. "Anna! I'm coming!" All at once, the shadows tightened, a final desperate attempt to claim her. They lunged, trailing icy fingers that brushed against her skin, clinging like poison. Suddenly, a surge of clarity pierced the chaos. With one last surge of adrenaline, she pushed against the darkness that threatened to devour her whole. Sharp pain shot through her chest as she leaped towards the light that flickered like a beacon in the storm, and then blackness. She tumbled through the void, plummeting down into a relentless silence, tumbling with no sense of direction. Questions flared in her mind. Where was Anna? What price was waiting on the other side? Then she landed with a thud, not on soft earth but harsh gravel. Pain shot through her body. She opened her eyes, blinking against a light that felt impossibly real. As the darkness receded, a figure stood at the far end, silhouetted against an unrecognizable landscape. The tension hung thick in the air. "Mommy," it called again, a voice that sent chills crawling down her spine. It wasn't Anna, and as she turned towards the figure, recognition carved deep scars of fear into her heart. The shadows danced eagerly around her, laughing. "Your choice has led you here, Lisa, where you must confront what you truly seek," they hissed, echoing through the empty expanse. With terror spiraling inside her, she realized she had stepped into the unknown, a place where every decision could lead to either salvation or further doom. Did she truly have the strength to face the ghost before her? Was the truth worth the cost? All she knew was she was not alone. And the real game was just beginning. The figure shifted under the glare of the strange light, its outline becoming clearer, more defined. It wore the familiar face of her old friend, Emily, but there was something profoundly wrong. The smile was too wide, stretching in ways that defied reality. Lisa felt bile rise in her throat as dread pulled at her feet. "Emily?" she uttered hesitantly, stepping forward. Her voice was a quiet tremor that cracked like thin ice. The shadows twisted closer, writhing with anticipation. "Oh, Lisa!" Emily's voice was syrupy sweet, as if she were savoring the moment. "Don't you remember? I've always been here, lurking in the shadows. You just never looked closely enough." The mocking lilt to her tone sent shivers down Lisa's spine. "Where's Anna?" Lisa shouted, her heart hammering. The shadows grew thicker, drowning out the light and casting long, claw-like arms that reached hungrily toward her. Emily lifted a delicate hand, brushing aside the darkness like it was a mere curtain. "Yes, somewhere safe," she replied, her expression shifting to a twisted mockery of concern. "But are you safe, dear friend? Are you really?" Instinctively, Lisa took a step back. The gravel crunched painfully beneath her feet, a sound that echoed through the silence like a gunshot. Above all, that smile, she noticed changes in the way it glimmered, unsettling and unnatural. "What have you done to her?" Lisa's voice trembled, panic creeping in behind Emily. The landscape shifted again, gloomy silhouettes loomed large, emerging like nightmarish giants. Trees with blackened branches curled like fingers, grasping at the murky sky. The air thickened with a sense of dread and the suffocating weight of unspoken truths. "Oh, Lisa," Emily said, taking a step forward, "how you've changed. All this running, all this fighting, it's so pointless. You can't escape the truth." As she spoke, shadows coiled around her like serpents, and Lisa felt their cold caress on her skin. "What truth?" she implored, the urgency in her voice rising like a tide. "Your choices have brought you here," Emily replied, a sinister glint in her eyes. "You've spun your own web of despair. Think about it. You chose to look for Anna, to come here. You've dragged yourself deeper into this." A chuckle escaped her lips, low and chilling, echoing through the twisted landscape. Lisa's breath hitched. "Emily, please. I need to know. Is Anna alive?" She wanted to believe, to reach out, but the darkness swirling around Emily felt alive, suffocating it all. "Alive?" Emily laughed, a sound that twisted Lisa's insides. "Define alive." "She is simply lost. Like you. Stop it. Lisa screamed with every ounce of her strength. You don't have to do this. We can still fight it. But the shadows roared with laughter, a chorus of anguished cries that wrapped around her heart. You think you can save her? They taunted, their mocking voices echoing. What are you willing to sacrifice for her? What would you become? Each word pierced through Lisa, threatening to unravel her very being. The truth around her blurred as anguish and desperation clawed at her flesh. Then, an image flashed across her mind: Anna's face, bright with laughter, framed by golden hair. That warmth surged within her, a flicker of hope fighting its way back through layers of despair. I will find her. As she pushed against the shadows once more, the landscape shifted wildly. Amelia's form flickered like a faulty light bulb, her face cycling through emotions from rage to pity. Choose wisely, Lisa. You can only save one. As the shadows thickened, clenching around her throat, Lisa felt the intense pressure of an impending darkness. The light that had guided her began to fade. In that moment, clarity broke like a fragile shard of glass. I choose Anna. With a heart bursting against the weight of agony and love, she took one last determined step toward the oppressive darkness, ready to face whatever was lurking beyond her mind's eye. But as the echo of her declaration faded, she felt a pull, like being swept into a riptide, something colossal shifting. What lay beyond the darkness? And most terrifying of all, was her choice truly the right one? The ground trembled as an unseen force closed in on her, chase her into the unknown again. What if salvation was the true horror? What if she had stepped deeper into the abyss of her own making? Her heart raced. There was no turning back now. The world spun, an endless carousel of shadows. Lisa felt the ground beneath her shift, slipping through her fingers like sand. The air thickened, stifling her breath until it felt like a vice around her chest. No longer just a specter of her friend, Emily loomed larger, morphing into a monstrous contortion of every fear she had ever known. Where are you, Anna? The words clawed their way out of Lisa's throat, rasping against the malevolence swirling around her. With every passing heartbeat, the darkness became more oppressive. The air crackled with energy, electrifying yet terrifying. Suddenly, she found herself standing in a suffocating void. The light had vanished, replaced by the whispered echoes of nameless nightmares. Ghostly forms flickered at the edges of her vision, teasing her with the promise of clarity, only to dissolve into shadow again. Lisa, the voice came, haunting and eerily familiar. A figure emerged from the blackness, a younger Anna, eyes wide and terrified. Help me, Anna! Lisa lunged, desperation fueling her movements, but the distance stretched impossibly. The ground bucked beneath her like a living creature. Where are you? Don't trust her. Anna's voice was a sharp whisper, cutting through the chaos. Look at her. It's not her. It's a trap. Lisa stumbled, wrenching her gaze from Anna to Emily, who watched with that terrible, twisted smile. Isn't it beautiful? The way they fall for it? Emily's voice dripped with venomous sweetness. Sister against sister. You see, dear Lisa, the only way to save her is to sacrifice yourself. No. Rage ignited within Lisa as she forced her heart to beat louder than the terror around her. I won't let you win. The shadow surged, charging toward her like a tidal wave. Then you will lose everything. With despair threatening to drown her, Lisa felt the pull of her memories, the sweetness of laughter intertwining with the stench of decay. She resisted the mounting waves of despair surging in. Anna's presence, was it an illusion, or was there truth in her pleas? Stop. Just let her go. Lisa's voice shattered the dark air, hoarse but steady. You can't keep her from me. But Emily's face twisted grotesquely, morphing into something unrecognizable. You don't understand, Lisa. This is your fight. You brought this upon yourself. The shadows reacted violently, shrieking like tortured souls, and Lisa felt her own sanity slip as their cries spiraled around her. They clawed at her mind, pulling at the threads of her will. Panic ignited a spark of defiance. I'm not afraid of you. I'll choose Anna. Together, we are stronger. In that moment, the shadows recoiled, stirring as if shaken by an unseen force. The ground trembled beneath her, the voices dulled, but embers of determination lit her heart. "Just remember, Lisa," Emily's voice slithered back, mocking and unsettling, "only one of you can emerge alive from this. Choose wisely." Suddenly, the landscape shifted again, muted colors swirling into a vortex of chaos. Everything around her tilted and spun, as Lisa fought to hold on to her focus. "Anna!" she screamed into the churning darkness. "Fight! I'm coming!" In the depths of her heart, something ignited a flicker of resolve warming her. The grim darkness stirred, almost responding to her fiery will. If she was to become a beacon for Anna, it required a sacrifice she wasn't ready for, and an acceptance of what that meant. But as she stepped forward, a sudden chill wrapped around her, squeezing tighter. The shadows began to clear just enough to reveal faces, countless faces, become mere echoes, twisted in sorrow, longing, death. Lisa faltered, each face entwined with memories of choices past, woven into her very existence. Then she saw a door appearing just beyond the scorched ground. It flickered in and out of existence, beckoning her, promising escape. But beyond it, she sensed something darker. What lies behind there? Lisa whispered, dread pooling in her stomach. Could that lead her to Anna, or would it shatter her into oblivion, with one last glance at the shadowy forms swirling around her? Lisa felt the weight of her choice collapse over her. The door was wide open, but the question loomed heavy: should she step into the unknown, risking it all, or would she remain entrapped in this hell? Her heart pounded ferociously in her chest as she contemplated the abyss before her. The shadows danced impatiently, a churning sea of malevolence that seemed to whisper her name. Would she embrace the terror ahead or drown in her indecision? The door called to her. What awaited her on the other side? Stepping closer to the door, Lisa felt the air shift, thick with tension. The whispers grew louder, merging into a cacophony that clawed at her mind. "Anna!" she shouted again, desperation bleeding into her voice. "I'm coming!" Her heart raced, each beat a drum of war against the suffocating darkness. Every instinct screamed for her to flee, yet the door, with its inviting glow, promised salvation or damnation. She hesitated, wrestling with the urge to turn back as doubt seeped into her nerves. What if Anna's pleas were false? What if Emily had crafted the entire scene to trap her for eternity? Choose wisely, the shadows hissed, their voices a chilling serenade. One life or another. Gritting her teeth, Lisa stepped forward, her mind a battlefield of fear and determination. Just as she reached for the doorknob, a chilling wind swept through the void. It sent each hair on her body standing on end, an icy hand gripping her heart. In a flash, the door warped, transforming into a twisted mirror. Reflections of her worst memories flickered across its surface, each betrayal, every mistake alive in excruciating clarity. She watched herself, a stranger in the glass, darkened by shame and loss. "No! Get away from me!" Lisa shouted, yanking herself back. With every scream, the shadows writhed, the gleeful laughter of Emily echoing all around. She recognized the real terror. This wasn't just a battle for Anna's soul, but for her own. "Face your fears, Lisa. Choose." Emily taunted, her silhouette flaring in the chaos. In one instant, those ghostly faces she had seen flashed vividly in her mind. Friends discarded by the weight of neglect. Moments ruined by indecision. They clawed at her, demanding acknowledgement. Lisa could feel their pain weaving into her very being. But Anna's voice broke through, raw and desperate. "Don't give in. Fight for me. Please." Clenching her fists, Lisa forced herself forward again. The doorknob felt warm under her touch, as if it were alive, throbbing with her pulse. It promised passage. The air around her crackled, sending ripples down her arms. Fear twisted inside her, but she gripped the knob tighter, the metal hot against her skin. "Let her go!" She screamed into the depths of the void, her voice resonating with defiance. With a single twist, the door creaked open, revealing a blinding light that threatened to engulf her. The shadows recoiled, shrieking in protest as if their very essence was being torn apart. The light spilled forth, washing over her, illuminating the darkness she had been ensnared within for so long, and in that moment, Lisa stepped through, propelled by hope and fear interwoven as a lifeline inside. She felt the landscape shift, the blinding light giving way to ethereal beauty. Colors swirled like a canvas brushed by a master artist, yet, the air still carried a heavy weight, an unshakable dread lurking at the fringes. Anna's voice was a thread weaving through the tapestry of colors. Swimming against the tide, Lisa turned to see her sister standing there, shrouded in mist, deceptively serene. But something flickered in Anna's eyes, a shadow that didn't belong. "Help me." Anna reached out, but the expression on her face twisted in panic. Lisa gasped, confusion flooding her. "What happened?" "What you've done," Anna began, but her voice was abruptly drowned out by laughter from somewhere behind them. Emily, her cruel smile slicing through the light. "Did you really think it was that easy?" she taunted. "This was merely the beginning, Lisa. Now the real game begins." Lisa's heart dropped. She felt the floor beneath her tremble, as if it were alive, ready to reclaim her once more. Anna's eyes widened, fear pooling like ink as reality warped around them. "What lies ahead?" Lisa murmured, dread pooling again in her stomach. Would they truly escape the clutches of darkness, or was this just another level of Emily's twisted web? As the world shuddered, Lisa knew one thing: the fight wasn't over. The door to liberation had opened, but it also unveiled a truer horror lurking in the light, a reality darker than she could ever imagine. And in that disorienting moment, the laughter echoed into silence, waiting for her answer. Lisa felt every hair on her body stand on end, the weight of uncertainty pressing against her chest. The colors around her shimmered, promising beauty, yet an impending dread gnawed at her core. Anna stood beside her, eyes wide with fear, grasping at shadows that threatened to envelop them both. "What do we do?" Lisa whispered, heart racing. "Trust yourself, Mommy," Anna murmured, though her voice quivered, hinting that even she felt the instability of their reality. Suddenly, Emily stepped into their view, laughter dancing at the edges of her smile. "Welcome. Oh, how sweet this reunion is." Her voice dripped with malice, igniting the shadows that chased after them. They writhed like serpents, eager to snatch any glimmer of hope. "You thought you could escape? This is merely a doorway to your darkest fears." Emily jeered. The ground beneath them trembled again, pulling apart as fractures spidered through the ground. "No!" Lisa shouted, stepping protectively in front of Anna. "We'll fight this." The determination surged hot in her veins. With a deep breath, she turned to Anna, locking eyes. "We are stronger together. Let us banish this darkness." Anna nodded, though her small hands trembled. "Okay, Mommy, but what do we do?" The shadows slithered closer, trickling like oil over their feet. Lisa's mind raced. She remembered the moments before, the love they shared, the laughter that had once filled their home. "We focus on our love. It's our light." Drawing her daughter closer, Lisa held her hands tightly. "Think of the happiest moments, Anna. The park, the swings, the flowers. They can't hurt what love has built." The shadows lurched, recoiling slightly as the warmth of their bond pulsed, fighting against the encroaching dark. "You think those memories can save you?" Emily screeched, but Lisa didn't waver. "I know they can," she cried, drawing on the strength they shared. Images flickered in her mind, Anna giggling as she chased butterflies, the soft scent of lilacs on a summer afternoon, starlit nights spent telling stories, whispering dreams. In that moment, the ground steadied beneath them, and light erupted from their joined hands. The shadows screeched in outrage. Lisa felt the warmth radiate outward, illuminating their surroundings, casting back the consuming dark. "You won, take us!" she shouted, heart pounding with fierce defiance. Anna's voice melded perfectly with hers. "Mommy, we're strong. Together." Light enveloped them, seeping into the very fabric of the shadows. Shapes writhed, twisting in agony, howling as the borders of their realm blurred. Emily continued her mockery. "You think you've won? This is just a temporary retreat." "No. This is our triumph," Lisa declared, pulling Anna closer as the light surged, brightening until all was blinding. Then there came a sudden, deafening silence. Lisa opened her eyes to a soft dimness, warmth flooding in as she blinked against a sunlit backyard. They were home, their home. She gasped, looking around. The swings creaked gently in the breeze, and flowers danced along the fence as if rejoicing. "Anna!" she cried out, frantically searching. "Mommy!" Anna's small voice rang out, thrill and relief washing over both of them as she rushed into Lisa's arms. The weight of darkness seemed to lift, the world brightening with every heartbeat. "Did we do it? Did we really win?" Lisa asked, fresh tears of relief spilling down her cheeks. Anna pulled back, planting a tiny hand on her cheek. "We're home. We're safe." And for the first time in what felt like forever, Lisa believed them both, but as they turned to walk back into the house, a chill scuttled by. The shadows retreated, but Lisa felt the sting of Emily's laughter echoing faintly in the back of her mind. "This isn't over," it seemed to whisper as she turned to shut the door behind them. Steeling herself, she gripped Anna's hand tighter. "We'll be ready. We'll always be ready." And with that, they stepped back into the warmth of their home, where laughter awaited, and the past felt ever so slightly lighter, a fragile piece that would stay strong as long as their love endured. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that unravel even deeper mysteries. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Every voice matters. And wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.